Hey guys, good to see you. With this new StreamYard, you know how it is with updates. They have taken away all of my intro videos. So unfortunately, I can't even play my intro, which is a bummer. So I guess I'm going to have to wait until my check comes in at next week and go on the paid plan. Okay, so thank you, StreamYard. All right, good to see everyone. All right, so tell you what, guys, I have very few announcements to give. There, let me think. There is a festival coming up in East Columbia, Pennsylvania, and that's in October. Let me get my calendar up here, and I'm sorry that I'm so okay. White Deer Community Park. That is in New Columbia, Pennsylvania, October 11. And I will not be speaking. Unfortunately, as everyone knows, I've had to cancel out of all my speaking engagements this year. I'm just taking a break and getting my rest. And but there will be a contingent of Pennsylvania Bigfoot Project members and team members who will be speaking, along with our good friends from New Jersey, Stephen and Shelley Stetzer. They will be there. Ron Howes, Bigfoot biker, he will be there. Glenn Barassa, and I don't know who else, but we will have a contingent there. So that's White Deer Community Park in New Columbia, Pennsylvania. And you just look that up and have fun. Hopefully they're going to, let's see, it's a Bigfoot Bluegrass Festival is what it's called. Should be fun. And let me think. There's really nothing else coming up as far as I know. And let's see. I'm just so scattered right now because I usually have my videos that I count on to get things going. And so let's just go ahead and get into the prayer requests. So if anyone has a prayer request, please, you don't have to go into detail, in the chat. You can just put in their unspoken prayer request. You can write me privately, just send me a message. And but no matter what, I've got a whole bunch of people. I've got a whole list right here of previous prayer requests that I'm just continuing them because I hear from, and I read your notes, on Facebook. So I know that who all is still in need of prayer. And, just know that you're in my prayers. There was, excuse me. There was, just before I came on, I was watching a news conference from Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania. There was a shooting. 5 police officers, 3 officers are unfortunately dead, and 2 are critically injured. And apparently they were going to a residence in an ongoing investigation, and apparently the homeowner was having some, unfortunately, mental issues. And That's all that I know. I don't know any other details, but that's just the little bit that I got from what I caught of the news conference. So please keep them in your prayers, and you know, their family members and so on. You know, they are in need of your prayers. That's in York County, Pennsylvania. Also, please continue to keep the family and friends of Charlie Kirk in your prayers, and the other shootings that went on right around right around the same time frame. There was a school shooting, and yeah, just so many things going on, so much evil, and yeah, you guys know, you know, it's just evil. A lot of evil out there, a lot of demonic activity, as far as I'm concerned. And we just have to hold, continue prayers, you know, as prayer warriors, you know, hold up the armor of God. And hey, guys, I know I came on a little bit early, so, but you know, again, my video previews and introductions, just, it's not working. StreamYard is giving me issues, and it unfortunately gave my guest some issues, but I've got her on. We were able to figure some things out, so we've got Suzanne on, and hey guys, all right, you want to, somebody say hi here, okay? I haven't seen any comments in a little bit, so somebody chime in, say hi, let me know that that you're in there. All right, well, tell you what, we're gonna just get on. Let me read the introduction. Okay. Now I know some of you already know Suzanne. Suzanne has been on Facebook in the different groups for quite a while, and I've known her. I don't know how many years. I don't know. Can't remember whenever I first met her, but it's been a while. And we've just held some fascinating conversations over the years, and she has had some amazing adventures through her travels. And let's see, she grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and after college, she moved to Portland, then 10 years in Marin County, Pennsylvania, or California. Boy, I got Pennsylvania on the brain. Until she moved to Sweden with her Swedish husband in 2011. And after that, she's had some amazing Bigfoot and Sasquatch adventures. She saw her first, what she now knows of as a Sasquatch. She had her first sighting in February 1985 at Lynx Lake and that's near Prescott, Arizona. So tell you what, before I totally muddle this up, welcome, Suzanne.
Hi, Mary. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. I think we actually met in 2012 via the internet with Duke, through Duke. Yeah.
Yes.
It's been a while. Doesn't seem like that long, but it's been a while.
That's right. You know, it has been quite a while. Yeah. And guys, that's Duke from World Bigfoot Radio. That's what he's on now. I don't think he's on Facebook anymore.
You know, I'm not sure either because I'm not on Facebook as much as I
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
but he's still out and around, I guess.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he has his podcast uh, on uh, on YouTube, and occasionally he'll jump in here, and which is nice. I enjoy talking to him because it's so few and far between that I get to talk with the people that I've been in contact with on Facebook, for years, and
Yeah.
finally get to talk to them.
Yeah.
So tell you what, tell us about your first sighting. How did that go about?
Well, I now know what it was. At the time, I didn't, and it scared the absolute bejesus out of me.
Yeah.
But I was in junior college in Prescott, Arizona, Yavapai, and I was out with my boyfriend. We go out camping, and he had everybody in the 80s, mid 80s, tells you my age, had a Toyota 4x4, and it was a lift kit, lifted up, and it had a camper shell in the back, and we'd sleep in the back of it. So we were out there just for the night and doing what college kids do and hanging out. And before we went to sleep for the night, we were, there's a mattress and everything back there, so we are just going to stay for the night. The shell window was open, but the what do you call it? The tailgate was up. Okay. And I needed to use the facilities. So I climbed out over the edge and I went around to the side of the truck and I'm doing my business and I stand up. And as I'm, getting organized, something caught my eye against a tree. And I don't know if it was a glint or a movement, but I looked up, and Arizona looks a little bit like Colorado in so much, especially in Prescott. It's mostly scrub oak and then, lodgepole pines, but they're not close together. They're about 15, 20 feet apart, so it's pretty open. But anyway, there was this dark shape, what I thought was a rock at the base of this tree. And when I use my hands a lot, sorry. When I'm standing there and I look up, it moved. And I froze and I'm looking at it and it had been sitting, and then I focused on it. You ever see a gorilla at the zoo, it's sitting there kind of on its haunches, with its legs like this. Yeah. This thing rolled. So the left arm came around, it moved, and I'm just, just frozen. Yeah. Left arm forward, and then the right arm forward. And when the right arm came forward, the head turned. The whole time I'm thinking, what is that? What is that? What is that? Because it's the size of a cow. It was the size of about a 1 or 2 year old cow. That's where the back was. Yeah. And I kept looking for, there are elk there, there are deer there. Very rare. I mean, it's not a bear. I mean, and I did not know what it was. And so my eyes, while it's moving, my eyes are scanning its back, and there's no head. Okay, no head, back down. And then the leg came up when when it moved simultaneously, the leg is coming up, and the leg came up wrong. There was none of this like you'd see in a deer going down. It came up like a person, with the kneecap and the foot. I'm like, oh my God. And then I have goosebumps right now. And then back down, and also the back was different. The back was straight. When you look at a deer, it kind of goes, there's a little bit of an arch down. Yeah. And then you expect to see the head, but there was no head. There was just like this little bowling ball thing. And it moved and it looked at me. And then it looked back when the arm went back. And by now I'm just, Jesus. And then it moved again. And when it moved again with the right arm, it was at the next tree. So about 15 feet or 20 feet, probably. I never did measure. And it kind of stuck its arm out like it grabbed the tree. And when it did that, game on. I don't remember. It didn't stand up. I never saw it leave the other side of the tree. I went around the corner of the truck, and it was a lift kit with the tailgate up. I dove through into the car, screaming, and just went to the back. It's out there, it's out there. Oh my God, I just closed the window. And my boyfriend, who was a football player, wrestler, freaked him out so badly. He scrambled to the front, pulled it closed, and we both sat there you know, I was white as a ghost, just listening to anything. And he kept saying, well, you know, you must have seen a deer. He tried to calm me down. And we never heard anything the rest of the night.
Okay.
Eventually we fell asleep. You know, we were locked in there by this time, not moving. And the next morning, it was like 3 inches of snow on the ground. So it snowed overnight. But I didn't know what it was. So over the years, I mean, that was in 85, I blocked that completely out. Like I didn't think about it anymore. I didn't do anything until fast forward. Now I'm living in Sweden and I have a young dog. He's only 3 months old and it's snowy and he's got a lot of energy. And the little city that I lived in was completely surrounded by it looks like where you live in Pennsylvania, which was fun because I've never been there. My dad's from Pennsylvania, but I've not ever been. But, you know, the rolling farmland and farms and forests, and then the Minnesota vibe, which is the lakes, a lot of water. And right outside, within 5 minutes of our apartment outside the city, I could be in this nature reserve surrounded by farms. And when the weather was bad, yeah, I could take the dog out. Well, weather was good too. I'd park on the farm road and then I could walk along the road and throw the stick, you know, into the field on either side. And that's what we're doing. And we'd had a lot of snow. So it was up over my knees in the field. Good exercise for a young dog, not for me. So I'm walking on the road, throwing the stick, and we get far enough along in it. And it's because it's so far north, I call it the gloaming, you know, it gets dark early. But it was overcast and everything was white. Trees were white about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but the light is starting to, you know, slowly go down. And I went down to pick up the stick and I threw it and I looked back down because I saw something. And what I saw was a perfect footprint. It was a right foot, like a perfect footprint, like perfect with toes and everything. And it was big. It was, you know, it was big. It was bigger than my boot. My boot was, I measured after that 27 centimeters and it was probably about 4 inches longer than that.
Wow.
Maybe 3.5 inches longer and wide. Perfect toes, except that all the way around it, you know, when you're a little kid and you draw the little sunshines, the little things like this, wet fur. And it was thicker on the sides and then kind of short around the toes and then shorter around almost like the, in the 70s or 80s, you had I call them the monster boots that everybody would wear when they were skiing.
Oh, okay. Yes.
You remember the big fur boots? And then when you'd wear them when you were skiing or in the snow, they would get wet around the edges. So, and you left little sunshines wherever you went. Well, that's what this was. And I was like, oh my God. And I looked down and then I looked up and I saw another one. And, you know, in the meantime, the dog is doing his thing. And I started walking up the road and they were about 4.5 feet apart. I had to take 2 steps for every footprint. And the other thing was they went in a straight line. It stepped off the curb, like it slipped off at one point into the, you know, down in the ditch there. But otherwise it wasn't like a human. It was straight. And those darn things, because of the light was oblique. I could see the shadow of them. They walked all the way up the road, down into the little ditch, up into the road for the next field. And then they disappeared, you know, through the field into the trees that were on that side. Wow. And I thought, holy crap. And each one looked like, you know, it's perfect, you know, perfect toes. And then and I went back to the original one. You know, I'm trying to keep the dog out of him. This is my old Ericsson phone. I'm trying to take pictures. Nothing's working. This is not, I couldn't get a picture of it. It was, nothing showed up. I'm like, oh, this is going to suck. I'll bring my husband back, you know, later. But so I also went back. I wanted to see where it went, where it had come from. Yeah. And so it's a farm road, you know, 1-lane dirt road, raised up, drops down the sides, field. On the left side, there was maybe 30 feet, and then it went down into a creek, and the creek had really steep sides. I followed it. I could see because the snow was so deep, I'm leaving shush marks through the snow. This thing wasn't. This thing was stepping I could see the holes. So I followed about 10 steps, maybe not even that, maybe 8 steps. And it had come out of the creek and it had walked across, stepped up onto the road, and then just walked down into the road into the trees.
Wow.
Like, oh, crap. And then I thought, you know, is that what I think it is? And this is just before all the Bigfoot stuff started really, in my opinion, kicking up. I wasn't paying attention. I'm living in Sweden.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what year was it?
What? 2012. It was the winter of 2012. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I had no clue. So I went back, that was really weird. The pictures did not look anything like it. I thought, well, I'll take my husband back when he gets home from work. He didn't get home from work until it was dark. And by then it was snowing heavily. So there was you wouldn't have seen it. It was really thick.
Oh.
And I'm on the computer, looking at Bigfoot prints. And this is before, I think Sasquatch Chronicles had its 5th episode. That, at that point in time, there was nothing on.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my husband came home from work and I said, I saw something really weird. He's really good at listening, he's really good. And I told him what I saw. And that afternoon, because I'd had a couple hours till he came home, I think I got home like 4:30 and he rolled in at 8. So I'd also seen, it's called the Jacobs photo.
Okay. Yeah.
I had never seen before.
Yeah.
But you know how you're doing stuff and it comes up on a pop-up when it came up on a pop-up and I was like, what the hell is that? And I clicked on it. And it was the very first time I ever knew that a Bigfoot could go down on all 4s.
Yeah. That was just north of me here in Pennsylvania.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know where it was, but I didn't know they could do that. And it was almost like being in a movie where you're in one of those tunnels that goes.
Yes.
And that memory came back from Prescott. And I hadn't thought about it since 85.
Wow.
It was like, holy crap. That is what I saw. It's bigger. The one I saw was bigger than the one in the picture, as far as I could tell. Yeah. And the Jacob's photo, the back is slightly bent where mine was a little higher up. It was bigger. But that, how do you tell your Swedish husband who thinks you're a normal human that and he said, but what do you mean? And I said, well, do you know what Bigfoot is? And, everybody kind of knows. And I thought it lived in Northern California. And, that's kind of that's what I, thought.
Yeah.
And even though I'm a child of the 70s, so I watched In Search of, I did all that stuff as a kid. It's fun. It's fun. I didn't think I'd see one. And I had no clue. So then I was obsessed. And I'm out every day with my dog because it's really convenient. And being an Arizona girl and I miss Northern California. So once I left the desert, I was over the sun. Like I'm done with the sun. It's hot. It's the face of the moon, it's too hot.
Yeah.
So I just thought the woods were magical. So pretty much every single day, I drive out, I'll get off work, load the dog up in the car, and we're out in the woods. And that area is a nature reserve for a reason. They have Paleolithic and Neolithic ruins.
Okay.
There are standing stones around the ruins and the ancient farms. There are apple trees, there are pear trees, there are berries, mushrooms. There's moss, rocks you can sit on. There are no dangerous animals.
Yeah.
Nothing was going to bite me, eat me, sting me. I didn't have to worry about it. I was having a ball. And I wasn't just, walking on the roads. I was like, oh, a deer trail. Let's go check out the deer. So I was walking around, back in there and also training the dog at the same time. And I'm just assuming that I was entertainment every day, roll in, here she is over here. And I just started noticing stuff and it went on from there. But the footprints were the very first thing.
Oh,
so
wow.
that's how it started, Shaggy Dog. But that's how it started.
Now, in the meantime, you had sent me some photos, whole bunch of photos a ton of photos. And you go ahead and you continue, and I'm going to bring these photos up.
Continue with my Bigfoot odyssey.
Yes, continue with the Bigfoot odyssey.
Well, after that, some time went on, and I have to think back how, in the meantime, I started listening to Sasquatch Chronicles, which would come out, because I knew nothing about it. And it was interesting. And I'd go out and I'd look. And at that time also, I would never see people. And you might see the odd jogger out there, but it was always just me and the dog. When we moved out of Linköping, when we left, they had developed to the other side of that area. So you'd see a lot more people there. You'd see a handful of people where before there was nobody. People used it, but it was mostly farms and trails, and there was no hunting. And I'm just out there like a nut every day, just exploring. And some strange things I would hear when I would pull up and park the car in this area that was a Neolithic farm site. It had fencing all the way. It was a lot of acres, but it had fencing. So I was like, okay, well, I feel pretty good. The dog won't get out. If she runs, if he runs away, he's still young, I can train and we can walk, through here. And I would hear, like, when I would pull up, I would hear rocks. They were rock cut. That's weird, but I'm not used to living in the woods. I don't know. I'm learning about it, or I'd smell, that was probably the weirdest thing. I would be out and I would smell, it wasn't putrid at all, but it would be like a musky kind of, strong. Oh, there they are. That's a musky, strong smells, and I would ask my husband, what is making that smell? What could possibly be doing that? I don't know, and that, can I comment on the footprint that you're showing now?
Yes, please.
Oh, I would go out early in the mornings. This is a while on, and I actually think that this is an adolescent print, because it's wider than the female print. The female print was, after a while, I learned, when I would see their prints. Mm-hmm. In the early mornings when it would be frosty, especially, it was because it's easier, when there's not a lot of leaves around. In the summertime, it's hard to tell. But in the wintertime, when it snows, you can see new structures. And also when I'm out in the fields, I would find prints periodically. And this was a series of 6 prints that I found in one of the fields that I'm walking through with the dog. So there are several of those. I think there's a left, a right, and a left. Yeah. And then the dog destroyed, I'd find them, and Nutball was always running around going, oh, I've got a stick. And I'd be like, yeah, don't. I'm trying to take a video or getting my phone out, and I've got a dog, running through them, and hey, let's party. So these are the prints that I could catch. But anyway, getting back to it, so I saw that, and it must have been February, and then nothing really, just kind of noticing, just smelling that weird smell and just going, just oddness, kind of just like smells, and maybe feeling like I was being watched or something like that for all that next summer. We'll roll around to next fall. It's, I think I'm going to say September, November, again in the afternoon, a lot of rain at that time. And it got really soupy, in some of those areas that I'd be walking in. So I'm in the Neolithic farm area. It takes a while, it's a good hour and a half walk to get around that. And I'm walking through the ruins. I get down to the back. There's a pond back there that the dog used to like to play in. And they would run cows periodically in that back half. And it was just a mucky mess. And I thought, oh, I'm not walking through this. And just about that time, Wingnut, runs by me, having the time of his life, covered in schmutz. And I'm like, oh God, I'm not doing it. And he knew the area. So he kept going, straight, and he was going to turn left and follow the fence line. And then we'd hook up, after I came through the mud. Well, I thought, today I'm not going to do it. I could walk to my left. There was a trail there. I'd hop on the rocks above the mud, and then I'd be in the trail. And that trail was the lower portion of kind of a small hill, and at the top of the hill was where the Neolithic farm site was. It was just stones, what had been a longhouse. And on the side of it, as you walk through, there had been in 84, I think, almost a hurricane that had come through Sweden and done significant damage and blew the trees over in one direction. These were big trees that were down. So I call them, how they blow down and then the root balls stick up, like I call them root pizzas.
Yeah.
So I didn't walk through there a lot of times because you had to scramble over or scramble under these, these huge ancient trees, these big trees. But I thought, okay, today I'll do it. I hopped over the rocks. I got up there, and as I'm negotiating coming around the turn, I'm going to go around the turn. I'm going to walk. And originally my idea was I'll scramble over those, 50 yards, and then I'll get up on the rocks. I'll call the dog. So I hop over the rocks. I get to the bushes. First series of, there's a big car-sized boulder because this is ice age boulders, the big ones that are there. And I'm walking, and I came around the corner of this tree, and I literally walked, people call it walking into a wall of like scent. I walked into this wall and it made me pause. I stopped, and I kind of glanced around, dog's doing his thing, he's having a ball. Okay, fine. And I'm like, there's that smell. I wonder, that is so weird. What is that? And I kept moving. And now I'm thinking, well, maybe there's standing water. And that's what I walk another 5 feet next, like this. They're like this. Here I am. I'm walking by the root balls. Another big root ball. I walk past it. And there, sitting on the ground to my left, is a Sasquatch. It's a Sasquatch, but it was one of those, many words were going through my mind, none of which I can repeat on this. Like, holy shit, what is? That's what, the first thought I remember thinking is that's what that smell is, and holy shit, they're real. And then, oh my God, it's, arm's length, 3 feet, one step, and I could have laid my hand on its back.
Ooh.
And it's there, and it's sitting perfectly still, like a deer, when the deer freeze.
Yeah.
And it's sitting with I drew a picture. There's a sketch of what I did, what I looked at. Now that sketch is if I was standing away from it. I was not standing away from it. I was next to this thing. Okay. And I'm 5'8", and its head was here, sitting on the ground. Now, granted, it was up about 6 inches, where the dirt was up, so that's it. That's it. Now that is farther away than I was, but you can see the 2 root balls standing up. Mm-hmm. That's exactly the bowling ball style. And then it was the head that made me realize what it was when I saw the head. So I stopped walking. I'm standing there. I see it. And I must have paused for a moment. No movement. No movement. Saw the head. It had no neck that you could see. That is it, the trapezius muscles that come down. Yeah. And then picture, Lou Ferrigno or one of those guys when they turn around and they go, like that. And you've got those big lateral muscles across the back. Right. That's what it looked like. And then on the left arm, I could see down to the elbow and just the top part of the shoulder, on the right-hand side, just the way I drew it. Mm-hmm. Salt and pepper hair. The skin was, I want to say, kind of a gunmetal gray, if you have a fire, like a sooty fire. But where the back was, where the muscles came together down the back, just the nature of the skin, was darker, because the back, the shadowing went down. Mm-hmm. And then it didn't have, I remember thinking and I'm walking by it, like, I'm keeping my head straight. It's not moving. This telling, I've already been by it. I'm halfway up halfway by it by now. But I remember thinking, oh my God, it's, that's what it is. Saw the head. Oh shit, and certain things stick in your mind. And I remember thinking, I expected a Sasquatch because they're so strong to have kind of a bulbous butt. I thought the buttocks would be, it was flat, just like a gorilla. When you see a gorilla and they sit and they don't really have a butt, that's exactly what it looked like. Exactly what it looked like. There was shorter, it didn't have a conical shaped head. It was kind of round, it was more rounded. Shorter hairs on the top, but longer going down. Thinner on, I could see a lot of skin through it isn't fur, it's hair.
Yeah.
And then just like I drew it, and then the arms had longer hair. But what was so interesting and how close I was to it, I could see the skin on the arms. And if you've ever been close to an elephant, if anybody has ever seen an elephant, and you see how thick the texture of the skin is, it didn't have pores. It has really defined leathery skin. I have a purse that has that same, I've never been able to use it after that.
Oh.
That same textured, leathery look, and there are no pores. There are no pores. You would expect something like that to have pores. It didn't look to me like it did. It just has these creases. And then the hairs are thick at the base, and they kind of stick up like a horse's mane, just like an elephant. You look, they stick up about 1/2 inch, and then they get thinner and finer, and they wisp off into nothing. So darker gray, lighter gray, get that salt and pepper and wisp. And sometimes things stick out, and there was, if you were to you can't zoom in, but the sunlight was coming through the trees. It was a sunny day, and I'm in the leaf canopy, but the sunlight was coming through the trees, and just this ray of sun hit its shoulder as I walked by. And that is why I know what the skin looks like, because it illuminated it. And I was several feet away, and the shoulders were like this. Well, you can't really see, but I mean, like this, how big, 3-4 feet, if you hold your, like this, like that. And it was crazy, but the sunlight hit that section. And so I'm seeing all this and I'm thinking all this. And then the next thing that goes through my mind is, I couldn't hear anything. My ears were ringing. I don't remember hearing anything at all. There's no sound. I looked around to see where the dog was. I didn't want him to come up because I didn't know what would happen. He was slightly ahead and on the other side of the stand of trees. Good, stay there. And all I could think of was, don't run, don't run. Don't run, don't run. And I had 2 choices. I kept walking. So it took 5-6 steps to get by. I could have, like I said, touched it. It never moved. It never breathed. I only saw the hair on the shoulders in the breeze. That's it. And I thought, okay, I can go up the slight rise covered in raspberries, which is not fun, or I can, if I turn left and I follow the trail, I have to jump over 3 trees, 1 under, 2 over, and that thing's going to be on my back. And it already was to my back, but now I'd have to cross in front of it. And I was like, screw this. I went straight through those raspberries. Right up, up, got to the top, and now I'm where it's the longhouse was. It's just boulders. It was where the foundation was. And I've got to walk out all the way to my car, which is like 1/4 mile. Not hearing anything, probably because I was listening behind me for any sound, because it was dead quiet, but it was quiet because I guess my ears were ringing. I don't know what I was hearing. I got past that, keeping my pace, just moving steadily, called the dog came right over, right at my knee. And I said, come on, we're leaving. We hiked out, we got out. The first noise I remember hearing is when I sat down in the car. I was shaking so bad, I got my key out. This keys before you had do. Put the key in the lock, got in the car. I sat down and I hit the lock button. And that is the first noise I remember hearing, is the locks.
Wow.
And I just sat there and I thought, crap. And we got to go. And the dog is, doing what dog. Okay. And I just drove home, and sorry, I don't mean to bang on, but that's probably loud. I just drove home and waited for my husband to get home and had a couple glasses of wine. And what do you say? I think it took me 3 days to tell him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
What am I going to say? The man
yeah,
is an engineer. He's a scientist by trade. This is not something he does. He's a hunter. I mean,
yes.
he lives in the wood, he's in the woods. And anyway, I finally did tell him. And he said, well, let's go out and look. And I showed him and he said, well, I don't, and I didn't know to look for prints then. I didn't think of it. This
Yeah.
was something, I was terrified being there. I was, don't go away, don't leave me alone. And I really didn't go back in that area until summertime, really.
Oh, okay.
So it was a while before I was just too scared. When I
Oh,
did go back in, I got approached that was another, it just goes on and on.
yep. Yep.
So, but that was my first really traumatic
Yeah.
sighting.
Nice and close, too close. But thank
Yeah,
God he was facing away and he was acting like a tree stump.
exactly like a tree stump, just
Yeah.
like a deer. And the thing is, I guess if you having spent some time at the beach and stuff, maybe if you look at cedar wood gets really washed kind of white and gray, and there are so many colors of gray and white, and it's really beautiful. And that's kind of looking back now, I would say, okay, that salt and pepper, it could have blended into anything.
Yeah.
And I think about it now, and I'm out there 4 times a week, 3 times a week, I have my little red jacket on, I'm playing with my dog. They had to have, they must have recognized, I mean, they had to have known. And how many times had it been sitting there, and I must have caught a whiff of it or was it watching? Because I was always walking on the periphery,
Okay.
tootling along doing my stuff for
Yep.
months.
Probably watching you and
So
you happen to come a little bit closer to what you had before.
unexpected. I would never have been there if it wasn't muddy, but the mud was on, a foot deep. And I just thought, oh, that's just something I'm not going to deal with again. Having
Yes.
made that mistake once or twice before, I thought the better part of valor was not to. But
No.
that's how I saw it. The first one.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Now I wonder you say that all you heard was ringing in your ears. You can take that two ways. Is it stress and fear that just brought everything in
Adrenaline. Yeah.
and just cut out everything else? High blood pressure, who knows? Or infrasound, maybe hitting you with infrasound. And
I will say I don't, in this particular instance, I don't think it was infrasound. I actually think it was stress. I think it was adrenaline.
yeah,
I think it was adrenaline. And the
yeah,
only reason I say that is because on one other occasion, just before we moved from Lynn Shipping, this would have been in 2020 during COVID, right around in there. I was in a different area and I literally stepped off. So one of the pictures you have was from a video that I was just taking because I thought something was there. The dog, I'm jumping so far ahead, but anyway,
it's okay.
I caught what I think was an adolescent with a hand in the bushes. When I took that picture, when I put the camera down and I was just that was real. I didn't see it at that time, but I did the video, put the
Mhm.
camera down. I was dizzy. And even though I was just a few feet off the trail, I couldn't find the trail. It was
Okay.
well marked. And that is the first time I think I actually had infrasound. I was lost.
Yeah.
I was completely befuddled and the trail was there. And in
Yeah.
fact, I went the wrong way and ended up thinking, what the hell? Wow, that was weird. I really got turned around. And it wasn't until, again, listening to other programs where people were describing what happened,
Yep.
I thought, maybe I had a menopausal moment or something. I don't know what was happening. But I got completely, and that I think was infrasound. I
Yeah, I
think
think
mom
so.
and dad was there, and I think that I was a little too close for comfort. So
Yeah.
that is one time that I think, I don't know.
I've heard that so many other times where people they're in a completely an area that they know inside out, but all
Yes.
of a sudden they're lost.
Yeah.
Just completely turn around. They don't recognize anything.
Yeah.
And
It's weird.
yeah.
My husband and I had that happen. We were hiking and we were escorted out. I could hear them whooping. My husband said, "Those are just mountain bikers. You are out of your mind if you think there's mountain bikers in this area." But we ended up retracing our steps twice until he finally said, "Oh my, I'm turned around," which was weird. And then we ended up an hour and a half later getting out. So it does happen.
Yeah.
I see a question. I'm sorry, I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Ray is asking, I guess as a general question, has anyone experienced a sudden pressure change, kind of like on an airplane, but more intense as a Sasquatch, I guess, experience? And Ray, yes, I have. I've felt, in fact, there was a really intense pressure in my head, and it was increasing to the point of almost being painful.
Wow.
And there were Bigfoot maybe about 15 feet away from me that I know was there, and they were throwing out infrasound trying to get myself and others to go away. And so, with this pressure, I was just, I was quite frankly getting pissed off. And so I stood up and hollered at it to stop it, and it stopped.
Wow.
And
Did you know they were there before they started doing that?
yeah, we
Far
knew
better than I would be.
Well,
Wow.
my temper seems to get it. Whenever they start playing their games, my temper goes. And
You're
I
lucky.
holler at them like they're kids being ornery. And usually they'll change their behavior or run away or something, but
Not me. I would announce, it got to where I would walk in the woods and I would say, "Just me, I'm here." Or sometimes I would go whoop like that when I walked in. But the last time I did that, I was intensely growled at. And again, another story. And after that, I never went back into the woods beyond that. And that all I did was whoop when I get in my car, like, and I got in my car and drove away. So you're braver than I would be.
well, I think almost everyone here knows my story of chasing after one with a golf club.
I have not heard that story.
No.
No. May I hear that story? Or would it be?
He pissed me off.
Did he run?
Yeah, he ran away because he was he was coming around all the time and terrifying my dog, and and I just had it up to here
Yeah.
with him doing that to her, and so I went all mama bear on him and ran out the door, grabbed the golf club that I had sitting there, chased out after him, and he just ran away.
Did he do it again? Sorry.
Yeah, he came back, 2-3 weeks later, but just being ornery, being a bully, and I figured bullies are cowards, so I'll go out after them.
Mhm. Well, you're protecting your home and your puppy and your dog. I can see
Yeah.
that. I can see that. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. Yes, Carl, I used a big word. Let me see. Now you've got a ton of other photos. So what happened next? Well, no, you
Well, I got bluff charged next, but that was in the summer. So I didn't go back in that area. I kind of left it alone for a while.
okay.
And I dropped my husband off for work and it was sunny. I wasn't working that day. And mid morning, I think it was mid morning, could have been mid afternoon. I was out there in the field. On the back half, there's an open field of where that Neolithic farm area is. So the road goes, park there, throw in the thing. And I thought by now, haha, I know that people can whoop. They whoop. Okay, fine. And so I threw the stick, his ball, threw the ball. He goes out to get it.
Mhm.
And I thought, I'm going to whoop. There's no one around to think that I'm going to be crazy. So I stood in the middle of this field and I went, oh, I did a real, like, oh, I did it 3 times. And the dog brought his rope ball back and I went down and pick it up. And as I was standing back up on the hill behind me, you know how they have these, I call them glacial wrinkles, where they push the soil up into these big long ridges.
Yes.
One of those crops. So on the top of that, which is also the area I got turned around in, I just told you about, up at the top there's a hangout that I found later. But anyway, from that hill, I hear whoop, like a question mark, like whoop. And I'm standing there and I'm thinking, oh my God, I just heard a whoop. And I wanted to pay attention, so I threw the stick again, the rope ball. And all of a sudden, behind me, there's a stand of willows, and they're surrounded by the deer fence, 8-foot high deer fence, in a triangle. It's kind of swampy in there, but it's cooler. And it's this area. It's not very big. It may be 50 feet by 100 feet by 50 feet. It's just this small. In there, again, right next to that area that I walked by and a little ways away, it sounds like a truck coming through the woods. I mean, all hell is breaking. Oh, no. And I'm turned around now and I'm looking at it and I'm expecting to see, a dinosaur come through. I'm not seeing anything really move. Yeah. And all of a sudden, and it's getting louder. And now the dog and I are standing there just looking, and we're maybe 50, 60 feet away from that. And it stops. And the feeling I got was, no, I don't know what mind speak is. I don't necessarily know if I believe in it, but the feeling that I got, right? Not hearing words, just, wait, what? You? And then kind of like, how did you know how to whoop? What was that? And then the next thing was, oh, I messed up. and nothing, no sound. So I think it bluff charge, it didn't know what it was. And then how does this human know to whoop? And it's you, and how do you know what it is? That was the feeling that I got, not a sound. And I've got the rope ball, I'm hanging on and I just said, time to go. And we just walked again, right out, stepped up the ditch, got in the car, left, chalk it up to one of those weird things, just holy crap, they're real,
Interesting. Yeah. Now, probably here in America, at least here in the East, everybody whoops in the woods. There's all kinds of, people go to the active areas and that's all they do. They bang on trees and whoop and everything. And the Bigfoot, no, okay, that's just a human. I'm going to ignore it. But apparently they don't hear that from humans.
Bigfoot is not a thing.
Yeah.
Bigfoot is not a thing. When I went talking to you, the reason I got in touch with Duke, there was one other woman that I found on a fluke, just on this Bigfoot thing, who was doing Bigfoot, and she was curious, and that she knew Duke, and Duke I was able to get a hold of because I had so many questions. I'm like, oh my God, what is this?
Is that the other lady in Sweden?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And I think she doesn't do it anymore, but you know her. Yeah.
Yeah. And offhand, I can't think of her name. And I was staying in contact with her maybe up to about 5 years ago, and then just lost contact. Very nice lady.
Extremely nice and extremely knowledgeable.
Yes.
But she was the one who we were in contact quite closely because we were the only 2 people that we knew. The one other guy then in northern Sweden, up in Dalarna, who still does it. He has them on his property. And he was getting a lot of videos and a lot of things happening as well. And but that was about a year later. But yes, Solveig. Sort of. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah. Quite nice. Very knowledgeable.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. Now, okay, now the Bigfoot, whenever Bluff charged you, it didn't come out into the open? It
No,
stopped
I
short?
never saw a thing. I
Oh,
never saw anything. It stopped with it. And the willows were so close together. They were young and maybe 15, 20 feet tall, but they were really dense.
yeah,
It was really dense in there. And that's actually where I think they hung out, or at least because
probably,
no human's going to jump an 8 foot, wire deer fence to keep
yeah,
it. So whatever the reason the fencing was there, it was there. It was a safe place, but it had been, that's where it came
mhm.
from, but it never came out.
Yeah, because
Two
those
weeks.
willows, the ends of those are edible.
Oh, they
Um,
are?
they are, yeah, so
Oh, I
most
didn't know that.
likely that was a good snack area for them.
Oh, it would have been really good snack for
Yeah,
them. Oh, I
yeah.
didn't know they were edible. See, this stuff, I didn't know. I just thought it was cool. I'm like, well, if you're going to be cool and you
Yeah,
want a shady place during the day to kick back,
right.
I actually think it was, and I think it was the female up on top of the hill. And
Mhm.
I think at that time she had a young one, like a little one, like a toddler or smaller, because all during these months, I was finding stuff and seeing stuff. One day I was walking and I was there are hazelnut patches everywhere, hazelnut trees.
Mm,
In this one section, there are some apple trees. These are these old farm sites. And I found two little prints. Something had jumped out of the apple tree and landed in the mud. And then, and I thought, who's letting their kid run around out here? It didn't occur to me to take a picture, just two little feet in
yeah.
the mud, And also there, I also sent you a picture of this. It's a very tightly woven, um, it has a tree and then it's been really woven and inside that is an open space. But
Okay,
you cannot move it or get into it. I found two of those.
let me take a quick look,
If you,
see if I can find that. In the meantime,
yeah, I
uh,
think it was keeping its baby there while they would hunt. I think it was more like a really safe, because there were wild boar there. And
oh,
they
okay.
would hunt the wild boar, and they both, in those hazelnuts, the boar go around in those hazelnuts, and you needed some place. But again, it's been a year and a half, 2 years. I'm just finding this stuff. I don't know what it is. I take the odd picture and I think that's weird. I show my husband, he says, that's weird. I don't know why that is there, really sturdy. And I think they were cribs, like a little cage to protect the
Yeah,
baby if they were hunting. That's the only thing I can think about. Oh no, that's just a really nice big decorative one that I found one day.
okay.
The crib one, if you find it, it's located at the base of a tree. It's really dense. It looks like a pile of sticks coming down. And there's one picture it has snow on it, and there's one picture that doesn't have snow. It's the
Okay, let
same.
me
I think
see.
I think those.
Yeah, because I downloaded.
Oh, a couple. I sent you so many. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah, let
So
me see
many.
here. So many. And here on my screen, they're tiny. I
It was just a really well woven, sturdy structure, and it was probably 2 feet, about
okay.
2 feet high,
Let me
2 feet
try this.
long. One. That's a hunting blind. That just popped up overnight from evening to morning. That's on the edge of a field. There were a lot of deer in that field, and I think that's a hunting blind.
Okay. All right. Melvin, she's talking about her sightings in Sweden, but right now you're in Arizona, correct?
Yeah, I moved home in 2021 to help care for my folks.
Yeah.
So,
But she had most of her sightings and adventures out in Sweden
yeah.
whenever she lived there with her husband.
Specifically in kind of, I don't want to say condensed area, but I think that I don't want to say they migrate because they were always there, but the
Hmm.
activity was greater in the fall and in the spring I would see stuff in the summertime, but it was greater in the fall and spring. And they'd come through about every 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
You know, they'd be in the area and you'd see
Yeah.
what they were doing and then they'd bail. So I think they had a circuit, I would say 60 mile, you know,
Yeah.
however, because in that area, there were 2 rock quarries, you know, within a 60-mile radius. There was an Air Force base because I would find these weird blue things all through the woods that had no reason to be there. I think the thing was teething on it. I think I would find little like bite marks on these hard rubber. They were the caps to the missiles.
Okay.
Lying under hazelnut trees in the middle of the woods. Like, okay. There were lakes, there were 4 different lakes, and this area that I'm talking about, this condensed area, is a Neolithic protected area. So there are several Neolithic sites that were used for defenses. And also, like I said, that longhouse and several other structures, a burial ground. There's a reason Neolithic people live there, for the resources and because it was safe. And I also think the Bigfoot used the same, you know, there are a couple areas, the boulders, they use them the same way.
Of course.
Why would you not make use of those resources?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And in the middle of that area is a shallow, large lake. It's protected. It's called Takun, and it is a swan breeding ground. But every year, the swans are there, you know, when they're in season, but there are thousands of waterfowl. There are African cranes. There are geese coming out the wazoo everywhere. And it's shallow, so you could fish. So it's just a natural resource. Moose, deer, raspberries, blackberries, salmon berries, all sorts of mushrooms. And then around there, the chicken farm, there's a sheep farm there. One day in the middle of the field, I found a strip off of a sheep, just lying. It was smelly, but like someone had just pulled a strip off of a sheep in the middle of a field. That was nowhere near where the sheep, there was an experimental farm there too, the university experimental farm. So there were fresh vegetables. I know over the years you've seen all my pictures and you would think this woman has a lot going on. For whatever reason, it was a really good resource. Like I said, they would be there quite a lot. So
so a lot of food in the area.
Yeah. A lot of places to hide and no people. There weren't any people.
Yeah. Now the bluff charge, it reminds me of, see, I got bluff charged also back in 2018 in northern Pennsylvania. And that one, it was making a lot of noise, and then it came rushing down the hill through the trees towards us, and then it stopped short before coming out into the open. And that puzzled me, you know, afterwards. Okay, you know, I've heard other bluff charges where they came out and roared and were very menacing. So I was talking with Kumbo about it, and he said it's usually, you know, if it didn't come out in the open, it was most likely a juvenile. Because if it was an alpha or an older one, they would come out and be all over you. You know, they would be all roaring and very menacing, and no doubt as to what they were. But the ones that stop before coming out into the open, that's usually a juvenile.
It would be interesting if it was. I always thought he stopped because the fence, not that it wouldn't stop them because they're so big, but because he recognized who it was.
Yeah.
And the fencing, and I don't think he saw me as a threat. Once he recognized what I was, there wasn't a threat, because 3 weeks later, it approached me. It came middle of the afternoon. I'm on the phone with my husband. I'm walking on the trail, going back into the area that I should, you know, and I, you know, talking to my husband, okay, this is where I am, 2:30 in the afternoon, I'll pick you up, whatever. And I started hearing walking, and I said, I've got to go. There's something going on. Click on, and then my next thought was, oh shit, oh, sorry. Oh crap, I shouldn't be here. You know, this is where everything happened the first time. And I'm standing there, and there are 3 trees, big pine trees. I think they're called hemlocks. Does that sound right? Big
Yeah.
trees that have big firs.
Yes.
3
Yeah.
trees. 1, 2, 3. And I'm standing here, and the dog came running up, and he's a big dog. Spud was big. He came up to my hip, big mastiff mix. And he was standing, and he was tracking something. His head was tracked. I couldn't see anything because it's summertime. Everything is really green and leafy, but I could hear, and it's walking, just, it's not being shy. And it stopped on the other side of the trees.
Okay.
And I'm just standing there. And again, the I don't want to say the thoughts that I got, but the feeling I got is, why, mine, ours, here first, that kind of thing. Like we were here first. How do you know? Who are you and why? But it was more like one, like boom, boom, boom. I'm not saying I heard it. It's just the feeling I got. I have no idea what's going on with this.
Very possible. Wow.
And by then I'd heard, Native American, she's been on, oh my God, Navajo gal. She lives in New Mexico.
Cindy.
Not Cindy.
No. Oh, okay. I know who you mean.
I know I'm drawing a total blank.
Yeah.
And I feel so bad. I could hear her voice. She'd been on an interview, and I heard her talking, and she said, what we do is you want to respect them. Don't look them in the eye. So I looked down. I still had my phone in my hand, and I just went like this, I'm sorry. I didn't, it's just me, and I'll leave now, and I won't come back. And I just had my hands, and I just walked evenly and slowly, again, back up to the car, got in the car and drove away. But I never did go back in that area again.
Brenda Harris.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Always respect them, respect their place. So again, that's why I think it wasn't. I think it was the alpha male, and also because his feet were so big and his foot was damaged. His right foot was damaged. Like it was missing the middle toe. Some of the prints look like a rabbit, but it isn't a rabbit because you can see the metatarsal arch, but his foot was the middle toe was missing or dented. So when you saw his prints, it was pretty noticeable. Okay. And I would find them in the frozen grass in the mornings. But I just think that that's who it was. And I just think that he was the alpha male. He wanted to know who and why and how the hell did they know who, how did I know how to whoop? I think it was the first time. Yeah. And then they don't make the same mistake twice. I don't think they ever make the same mistake twice.
Right. Yeah, they learn. Now, whenever you heard that in your head, since you had been in Sweden for, I don't know how many years at that point in time, did you hear it in English or in Swedish?
I don't speak Swedish well, so I heard it in English.
Okay.
But not that they wouldn't speak in Swedish. I just think sometimes you get an inference, and the inference I got was, who, why are you here? What? That was the feeling I got. Like it could have hurt. It could have, if I'd been a threat to it or something, I think it would not have ended well.
Oh yeah.
So
that's also, like Brenda, I try to teach respect.
Yeah.
Always respect them, respect their territory. And, whenever I feel that I'm trespassing too far into their territory, if I'm getting rocks thrown at me or getting hit with infrasound, if at all possible, then I will say, I'm sorry, I'll go away.
Yeah. And I always did the same thing. And if I did it on accident, I always would say, I'm sorry. And you can tell, you can feel it. There have been a couple times when I thought, oh, yeah, no, I don't need to be here. And I didn't even know if they were in there, but you get that overwhelming sense of, I need to get away from where I am right now. Yeah. Get out.
You know
when isn't that amazing that when I don't know if it's a sixth sense. Well, it must be a sixth sense. It must be your, your lizard brain going, ah,
Yeah,
you're not top of the food chain in this particular instance.
that's
Yeah.
right.
And it only takes one growl. If you've ever, I know you've heard them growl.
Yep. Yep.
It only takes, one growl and you're like, okay.
Although whenever I heard the growl at that point in time, I couldn't leave. So he had to deal with it.
Oh, wow. You are far braver than I. I mean, I would get so, you go out at night in the woods.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's the only one good thing about being back in Arizona. I can go into my backyard now without having to worry about seeing eyes over the fence, wiggling the doorknob and growling, tapping on the windows. I don't
Yep.
have any of that now. And I'm,
Yep.
The odd coyote. And I'm fine with that.
That's it. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Now, I remember you talking about that, you live in an apartment building there in Sweden,
Yes. Yeah.
that you heard some things or saw a sign next to
Wow.
the building.
Yes. You've got a good memory. That was a long time ago. Yeah. We lived in the city, and through the city runs, it's a big canal. It's used for boating and things like that, but it runs right through the city and drains into those lakes. So, and it's
Yeah.
got, it's a very park-like city. It's not it's not Stockholm. It's not like Seattle or San Francisco. It's a big, it's a city, but it has a big open area around it. And where our apartment building was just a couple blocks, just down to the river, but a couple blocks to the rail station. And I found a pear tree, their little park there, and I walked the dog. And then on the way back, all of a sudden this tree had pears on it. And I was blown away, pears. I'd never seen a pear tree before. So I was all over this. So I'm like, there are pears in that tree. It was beautiful. And it happened to be in this area that was kind of scrubby, woodsy between two buildings. One was a hamburger restaurant, okay, with the outside, which again, I think they were going in at night when they would dump the food and probably radio. No one had video cameras. We're pretty rural, it's not. And then there was the office building, but in that section there, in the scrubby part below, walking path, tree, scrubby section, office building, street, our apartment. In there, I found those two structures that looked like somebody had been building forts. And that's when I said, I think that they're coming up. And I think the reason is because there was a pear tree. Across the path up the walkway was a house that didn't have anybody living in it. They weren't there. They had 4 plum trees in their backyard and grapes.
Oh, okay.
No plants, no fence. We used to go pick plums. I'm sorry, I can say that now. A lot of good jam out of those trees. But, they were there. And down, and again, less than 3 blocks away down, they have what's called a colony garden. And a colony garden is an area, and like you would have a victory garden, you've got a little plot and people put their veggie gardens and they hang out during the day. And that's right there too. So and then it's just railroad tracks going into the countryside. It's just very rural. So, yeah. And I heard that screaming that one night too, in the middle of the night, that really, really weird screaming off in the distance.
Yeah.
And I'm lying in my bed thinking, what is that? I had no idea. And, years later, reflecting on it, thinking, I wonder if that, because it's what you hear when you listen to people recording video recordings of, their tapes of Sasquatch. You're like, well, I wonder if it was just having a bad night. I don't know. But yes, you are right. That was the pear tree. And really good hamburgers. So I think that
easy pickings,
exactly.
Hey, if it's, why go hunting whenever you can get easy pickings, from the dumpster,
well,
at the hamburger joint and everything
and
else.
at that time, everybody kept saying, oh, nobody has more than one sighting. And they don't live near the cities, they're out in the wilds. Well, I beg to differ, because I've gone in the woods and I've found in the middle of the bags, half eaten, half empty, I shouldn't say eaten, big bags of dog food. How did that get there?
Yeah.
How did that get there?
Yeah.
And then patches where there are bags of somebody's my phone looks like it's somebody's oh no, my battery is going. I need to plug in my phone here. Bear
Okay.
with me. Let's see if I can plug in
Go
my phone.
ahead. Yeah. Just in case we lose you, just hop back on again.
I will. Let me play with my camera. I plugged myself in, but I'm hoping it's charging. It says it's charging.
Okay.
But I might be a little at a weird angle. I'll just hold the phone. But I lost where I was. Where was I? I was having a panic moment. Oh,
You would find bags of dog food and
the bags of dog food, bags of like to-go containers
yeah.
under trees, like it sat and had a picnic. You know,
Mm-hmm.
one day again in another section that had those, this isn't people food, but I found a little pile, perfect little neat pile on a rock underneath this nice little stand of hazelnut trees where it had plucked all the feathers out of a woodpecker and left a little red feather on top like that. And I think, oh my God. Okay, I think my phone is actually, okay, let's see if I can make it. Mary, would you excuse me for 1 second? I need to get my phone charger plug and I will be back in just a second. I apologize. I'm going to put the phone down.
Okay.
I have 3 seconds of battery, but I apologize. I'll be right back.
No problem. So guys, if you have any questions, make sure you put them in all capital letters in the chat, and I'll put your questions up on the screen. Now, Suzanne, she was born here in America, lived in Arizona, and moved out to Sweden with her husband back in, I think it was, let me read here. She moved to Sweden in 2011. And she moved back here in 2021. And she's in Arizona again. So she and her husband are taking care of her mother. So, again, if you have any questions, and this is, Suzanne has had so many fascinating encounters over the years. She and I have been talking for I don't know how long. Okay, looks like her battery may have run out. So hopefully she'll be able to plug in and come back on. As soon as she comes back in, I'll bring her up. So don't worry. We'll get her back on. And if all else fails, we'll just reschedule her to come back in on another night and try to work through. And I have no idea. Yeah, Jeff. Yeah, get her on your show. She's fascinating, really a fascinating lady. She's got so many more stories, that, and there's one particular instance that she made a very important discovery that, in my opinion, is groundbreaking. And I think that, she should be recognized for it. And whenever she comes back in, I'll see if I can get over to that discovery. But let me see, what was I saying? Can't remember. But yeah, guys, if you have any questions, make sure you put them all in capital letters and, in the chat so I can bring them up on screen. But what I'm thinking, okay, yeah, this is recorded. Well, it will be, it'll be on YouTube. You know, you're probably watching it on YouTube, so you'll be able to watch it whenever you want to. It's titled Suzanne, Sweden Sasquatch. So you can go back to it anytime. Yeah, I'm thinking most likely the issues that I'm having with ScreenYard are probably because I'm on the free plan. In order for me to get my videos back, my everything else that I have, I have all kinds of videos saved here on ScreenYard, but unfortunately, since I'm on the free plan, they change things around, so I'm not able to use them. I am extremely restricted, and they charge $45 a month on their cheaper paid plan. So guys, in the description portion, if you feel generous, there's should be a link there to donate. And if you feel it in your heart, to even $5 a month helps. It honestly does. Every little bit helps, that, I'm able to, keep doing this and bring the quality up as to, because like I said, I am really restricted in what I can do now. StreamYard changed their plan, and they switch things up. So there's a lot of things that I cannot do. And so, if you find it in your heart to donate, it would be so much appreciated. It really would. I'm on retirement, Social Security. That check comes in, I think it's, next week, next Wednesday. So whenever that check comes in, I'll pay for, the first month, and we'll just go month by month and, see what I can do. But no, I appreciate it, guys. I don't know if Suzanne isn't on. She's not on yet. I know her phone was going dead, so hopefully she'll be able to get up a little bit of a charge and get it plugged in so that she can get back on here. But as soon as I see her popping up, I'll bring her back on, because I think that you guys are enjoying this from what I'm seeing. Here we go. Okay. Oh. All right. Hey.
Sorry, I was totally dead. I apologize with that.
That's okay. I understand completely.
Change locations. Now I'm plugged in, so it's not going to happen again.
All right.
Okay. But I apologize. What I was saying was, everybody, when I was first doing this, would say it's not possible for someone to have more than one sighting. It's not possible that they're that close to the cities. Yeah. She has to be making this stuff up. I'm not making this stuff up. I don't know why you would make this stuff up, because it's scary and it ruined the woods for me.
Yeah.
I loved camping. I cannot camp anymore. I am terrified of sleeping. And when they would look in the windows at the summer house or tap, that's frightening. It is. It ruins it.
Yeah.
So.
No, I understand. And, it makes it hard, to get back out there, knowing that they're there.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I understand completely. I was telling everyone that you made a discovery that I feel is groundbreaking that you should be recognized for. And that was whenever you found the sticks, the glyphs on the ground that
Oh,
made a map
wow.
basically of your
Yeah.
area.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. For like I said, in my opinion, that's groundbreaking. Yeah, it's a groundbreaking discovery.
Well, thank you. I found the first one that I think I sent you and said, I think I said, is it possible that they're doing it? And then I found a second one a few months later, and I didn't send you those pictures. I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
didn't think to, but yeah, I didn't know that would be groundbreaking. It was just one of those things that you find and you think, well, this has to be what it is. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that would be, laid out like that. If you look down at it and you're seeing it, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, it mirrors everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I do think it was training the young one to memorize the area so it knew where it was. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, yeah. Well, thank you for that. That's interesting. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. It really impressed me that, because after that, I looked at the sticks, the glyphs a little bit differently, knowing that, okay, is this a map or what is this? Uh, so no, it's just fascinating to me.
Thank you.
Now
I
that
have
was,
a question. I have a question for people that are watching, and I'll try to find a place to put this down so I don't have to hold it. I'm sorry for the weird movement here with my phone. Two other things in my adventures popped up. And one I noticed, and it was a period of years. There was a very large grouping of boulders. And it appeared to me that every fall, when they were back in residence, right? Like it seemed like they would be more prevalent in the area. They
mhm,
would lean a stick, a big 3 or 4 foot long stick, next to the one that was already there. They'd lean it up in this area. And it got to be five sticks. No one was ever back there. They never moved. I never saw anything else. But
mhm,
it always made me wonder if when they came back through, because I think there were several groups in this area because the resources were really good, and you would see different things, you know, regardless of how you feel about X's or the big A's or things like that.
mhm,
I think that those tended to be kind of territorial a little bit, well, a
right.
lot. But those sticks, so I want to know if anybody has ever noticed if you were just, I'm here again this year, and you put your stick down and then you just let everybody know you're there.
Mm,
And then there was another, it was a willow, it was a hazelnut tree at the base of this, was a Neolithic fort area with really big boulders. So you could go up there and you could scramble around, but you could tell that they were up there sometimes, like
mhm,
hanging out. And at the base of that, there was a tree, and it was intricately, every year there were more of sticks and things that were woven into it. I have no idea why. There is no reason for a human to be in that area stuffing sticks into a tree like a pincushion,
yeah.
only with purpose.
Ye
Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
yeah,
Has anybody ever seen that? Or a woven tree, two trees woven and tied together in a big arch?
yes.
Has anybody ever seen that? That's
I
not a,
have, yeah, I have. I've seen that.
which is pretty neat. And you're out in the middle of nowhere and you think, that's interesting. Kind of pretty when it blooms, but
Yeah.
just different things. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, the sticks like a pin cushion. I know some people call them different things. Um, some people call them like a pyramid where they're way up in the air, where the pin cushion is like 15 feet up in the air.
Oh, wow.
And some of them are a little bit lower. Okay. Yeah, Mark says that he's seen, he's seen that also.
Wow. Then it wasn't just me being crazy and thinking that's weird, or
Nope.
because sometimes you see things and you think it's just weird, And when vines braided, yeah,
Yeah,
some of them are beautiful.
they are. They really are.
Yeah.
Who knows why they do them, though? If
I
it's
don't know.
them doing that, you really, unless you see them actually doing it, you can't really say 100% that it's Bigfoot. But what else is out there, with opposable thumbs,
Doing it. And some
who
of
can
them
do
would be
that?
hard for a human to do.
Yeah,
In my opinion, I can't imagine doing it that intricately,
right.
and doing it. So, well, that's interesting. Well, thank you for saying that. So I'd forgotten about those.
Oh,
Thank you.
well, I know that you're going to be invited onto another podcast because they mentioned it to me.
Oh,
And so maybe whenever you send in your photos, send in, if you still have them, of the
the
ground rules,
book.
the maps. Yeah.
Yeah. I will look for them if I know I still have them, but they're probably 2 laptops ago. They're, if I can turn it on and get, that kind of thing. But they were that would have been 2015, 2016, right
Yeah,
around in there that
yeah,
I found those. Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty early on.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be on your YouTube channel, maybe on one of the
They
videos.
might be they might be. And some of the earlier videos, honestly, I haven't posted there for a long time.
Yeah, I
And
noticed.
there are several videos. I'll look through them and see
Yeah,
if I can find them. Because they were pretty interesting, and
yeah.
it was interesting for me. I know I did a side-by-side comparison with the maps, like the
Yeah,
physical human map,
yes.
looking down the trail, and you can see
Mhm.
that it mirrors,
Yes.
both of them do. So yeah, I'll look for it. That's interesting. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and, guys, I put the link for her YouTube channel in the description portion, so please get over there and subscribe, and on a very rare occasion, whenever just in case you do update it with anything.
I have
Um,
so many photos and stuff, and I do need to just, it's a matter
yeah,
of doing it,
yeah,
sitting
get
down.
them on there,
Yeah,
don't that way they won't get lost, at least
that is true.
they'll be there for posterity under your name.
Yeah, I will do that. That is something to do. Thank you.
And yeah, Jeff from Old Line Cryptid, uh,
Okay.
their channel, yeah, Jeff and Jerry,
Mhm.
they'll be inviting you onto their
Oh,
podcast. So
okay.
I'll forward their information to you and your information to them, and you guys can talk.
Oh, thank you. That'll be fun. That'll
Yeah,
be fun.
they're fun guys. Yeah, they're good
Cool.
good podcast.
Well, cool. Well, thank you. We'll be
Yeah,
talking in the future.
yeah, once you get on the circuit, that's it. You're done.
I'm known.
Yes,
I'm
you are.
known for all my crazy adventures. But yeah, thank you. Well, it certainly has been, I feel really blessed to know that they're there.
Yeah.
But again, really disconcerting because it does take some of your security away when you know they're there.
Yeah.
But the other thing in that is if they're there, what else is? So
Mhm.
that opens a whole nother world of, how much you're willing to,
not let in or take away, because I don't ever want to say, oh, that's not real, because, oh my God, who am I to
Right.
say it is? I know what I experienced, but it does, when you're watching those shows that, on History and the Discovery Channel late at night, you're scared to walk through the house. There's a reason. Oh my God. To call
Yeah.
my sister and say, I've got to go to sleep. Walk me through the house while I'm watching TV. I'm too scared. They need to talk to somebody. But yeah, it's been interesting.
No, I know that you and I had spoken, at least the two of us, along with Solvig, the other lady from Sweden, about what the historical reference or name would have been for the Bigfoot there in Sweden. And I think that she had suggested troll.
Just a troll.
Yeah.
They're called trolls.
Yeah,
And there are songs that talk about the trolls that peek out from behind the trees, or that sound like the ringing of the bells that you probably talked to her and said, and I didn't know any of that. She taught me all of that.
Yeah.
And you don't really, again, things you don't know, like the trolls will get you. In fact, Patrick's dad once, again, not a comment he would be prone to make, but we were crawfishing. You put the crawdad traps down, in the lakes and the streams, and something had left a handprint, and the first 5 traps were empty.
Oh.
And I was saying something like, and he didn't know. I think Patrick had mentioned to him once that I did it, because it's embarrassing, to tell your father-in-law you've been married 2 years. I don't know, the American,
Crazy.
So it was a little weird, but I had shown Patrick the handprint, and he'd shown his dad, and it was a big handprint where it put its hand in the mud to climb out. Again, no picture, because I just was too embarrassed. I thought, I'm not going to, it's ridiculous. But like I said, the first 5 traps were empty, and Ingvar had come up to me later in the afternoon, and he said, well, the trolls took them. Honey, sweetie, sorry, it's my dog. And I thought at the time, he never ever talked about it again after that, but he just said the trolls got them. And so people there are much more, I don't want to say earthy, but they're more in tune with nature, that there's a real feeling of being out in the wilderness. They really love to go to their summer houses. Sweetie, shush, sorry. There's no power, there's no electricity, and they eat that stuff up. And it doesn't faze them in the least to think about there being a troll. One of my girlfriend's mothers swears that when she was a young girl, she saw one of these tomten, a little Santa, one of the little gnomes, a little gnome, running across her backyard. And to this day, swears up and down that she saw a gnome. And the history there is, you have a house gnome that lives on the farm that helps feed the animals and cause mischief if you make it mad, or if you make it happy and keep the straw clean, and it, feed it porridge on Christmas Eve, you'll be happy. And the woman is in her 60s now. Oh, she'd be in her 80s. Sorry, it's been a while. But she still says, I saw a tomten in my backyard.
Interesting. Yeah, because here they're known as little people.
Yeah.
And there's so many sighting reports of them. And it's similar, okay, they can be mischievous and ornery, but if you feed them and treat them right and treat their area right, then you'll have a good relationship with them.
Isn't that weird? It's just the different things that you think of. And I have another girlfriend who grew up being terrified of being at their summer house, because she would see glowing red eyes, in which she thought was a demon looking in the window whenever she was in the evenings, when she would sit there and do her homework or eat her dinner. And her mom would say, oh, it's a demon. Oh, it's a demon. You're just, you've been bad. It's a demon. And to this day, she's terrified of being in the woods and being at the family cabin, because I think now, was it the Sasquatch looking in the windows at her?
Yeah.
Probably, So you have to just say, and when I told her that story, she said, "Oh, okay. I'm just mentioning it. I don't know what it was. Ellen, you tell me what, you saw. If it's a demon, it was a demon to you, but it sounds like a Sasquatch to me."
It sure does. Yeah,
Yeah.
really does. Wow.
Yeah. And that was in the area up, the gentleman we were talking about that does the videos on his farm up in
Yeah.
Darlana. That was in the area that he lives in.
Okay.
So that was interesting as well.
Yeah, it's something to get people to talk, about their experiences, but then you have to put it in their perspective that not talking about Bigfoot or Sasquatch, but the trolls or
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. And they're
remote.
drawn like Bigfoot. They're drawn kind of hairy,
Yeah.
kind of monsters and things like that. But again, I didn't know, so they had to translate a lot of it, and she had different books and things that I could read. And then even my husband didn't know some of the stories because it depends on the area kind of you're in.
Yeah.
And it's folklore. It's considered folklore.
Mm-hmm.
But now there are several more people interested in it, than just me. But
Yeah.
it is out there.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that area, it's so remote. And so forested and very remote areas from what I've seen, at least on photos
Yeah.
and video. Perfect area for Bigfoot. The entire Scandinavian area.
And Norway and a lot in Finland. There's a lot of activity in Finland as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's perfect resource. There are no people.
Yeah.
There's more. It's the size, like Sweden is the size of California. And what is the population? 5 million, 20 million. So it's really a low population number, and everybody lives kind of in the cities. And they go out to their summer houses. But otherwise, again, much like it looks like you are just these beautiful rolling hills and trees and happy animals. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Jeff, she's in Arizona right now. They moved back here in 2021.
2021, yeah.
Yeah.
We still go back, but we only go back about once a year.
Ah.
But their locations changed after COVID, where I would normally be every day. When COVID hit, everybody was out in the woods, outside, because even though, you saw a lot in the news, American news, they would say, well, no one's, in Sweden, they didn't, what do you call it? When you stayed home. Yeah. They didn't have lockdown, but there was people, they asked people to do it. So most of the retired people, or the people that didn't have to go to work, were staying home or working from home if they could. And because everybody, like Norwegians and the Finns, everybody's outside all the time. It's part of the culture. You're always outside exploring nature. So just the whole city was out. So when you would go out, their areas changed, and when we went back this last time, I can go on my routes. I know their little travel paths through the woods and different routes that they would take, and, the different resources, and they've changed slightly. So when I go back now, I don't quite know where they are. And also that big male is no longer around. I think I don't think he's living anymore.
Yeah.
And after being growled at, one more time, and then being growled at our summer house, they were coming up to the front door, wiggling the handles and things like that, and, growling. I kind of figured, well, it's time. I might be poking around too much, and I probably need to take a step back because I was feeling threatened. Yeah.
Yeah, no wonder. Yeah, whenever they that's getting too bold. Whenever they come up and jiggle your door handle, that's way too bold.
Yeah.
And,
And there's not much holding that door shut.
Oh yeah, definitely. If they want in, that little door wouldn't stop them.
Yeah. They smacked the side of our summer cabin. It's logs. It's a log cabin. It hit so hard next to where I was sitting. I happened to be kind of near the radiator. The radiator popped, like I saw it pop off the wall and pop back on. I mean, it takes a lot to move a a wall, a log wall.
Yeah. Oh,
And,
yeah.
That's terrifying. And then you think, oh, I'm not going outside the rest of the night.
Was your husband there at the time? Did he witness that?
He heard it. Our cabin, you had to go outside to get to the bathroom, which was built on later. It was in the back. So it matched the length of the cabin, which is where I was.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting ready for the evening. And he heard the bang and he said, are you, he called me on the cell phone. He's like, are you okay? It was cold. Are you okay? And I said, yeah. But something just smacked the cabin. And he said, are you sure it wasn't the radiator? And I said, I watched the radiator move off of the wall. I said, it was not the radiator,
Yeah.
'cause we just had gotten there and we were heating up the house in the wintertime. It gets cold. It doesn't have, heat. So it really hit the wall. And he said, well, do you want me to come out and get you? I said, let's wait a few minutes. I think they were mad that, we showed up for the weekend. Like, I don't know.
Probably, and they were just trying to intimidate you. But it's interesting that it did it in the room or on the wall of the room that you were in specifically.
They only ever did. Yeah, when they would wiggle the door handles, Patrick would get out, he'd go around. It was always at night, and he would be in back brushing his teeth in the shower, doing whatever he was doing. And that's when the door handle would wiggle and they would growl.
Yeah.
Always, every single time. And that was really scary.
Yeah.
Because the door handle was just one of these little, they could have yanked that thing open.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
It's intimidation.
Yeah.
And would you make a noise or react or anything whenever they would do that?
Normally it scared me, and I was always in the living room. And but then this is before I started pulling the blinds down, although it still did it after the blinds were down.
Yeah.
Just because it knew Patrick wasn't there and it was a small cabin. But I would just usually freeze and, turn around. And the dog never barked. He was scared of them. And he knew when they were around, and there were, he'd freeze and we'd just listen, to see if anything else was going to happen. It would go away. And I always thought, yeah, no. It was spooky. That part I didn't care for. Once it was when the farmer bush hogged the field across, because they could sit in that field in the trees and they could there were 4 homes in an L, and they could watch TV or look at the houses and watch, and the farmer bush hogged that area. And I think they thought it was us because we were home we were in the house that weekend. And that's the biggest one. The growliest one was that one. And then I thought, I went outside after that a few minutes later, and like you, I didn't go chasing up, but I said, we didn't do it. The farmer did it. And then it didn't really do it again for a while after that, but I was mad. Like, don't scare me. It's not my fault, man. So, but that was it.
Yeah, Patty says, since putting up security cameras, I have not had any loud thumps or crashes that she used to blame the cat knocking something down, but she never found anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
You never know. That's all I have to say is you never know. Would you excuse me 1 second? I have to take Stinky here and just let her out real quick. I apologize for bopping back and forth.
That's okay.
Otherwise, that's all we're going to hear is the dog. So just 1 second. I apologize. Just a minute. I'm here.
Yeah. So Jeff, well, I'll give her your information and give you her information, and that way you can contact one another and get her on Old Line Cryptids. So your audience can, you and Jeff can interview her.
Sorry, I'm back. I have no children. I have one very spoiled lab.
Yes.
Who is having dinner problems right now. She looks like a Labrador. I think she's actually a Chihuahua princess. Hey. Sorry.
I know I've got a border collie, and she's spoiled.
She's a good. Well, I don't mean to interrupt the podcast to keep having my phone die, and then I got to take care of my dog.
It's okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
But it's fun to talk with you. Thank you for inviting me on. It's interesting to finally have someone to, I know we text back and forth and ask questions, but it's nice to have someone that has similar experiences
Yeah.
and can relate to it, and other people that can say, yeah, I've seen that, or because it's a little lonely sometimes if you think you're the only person who's experiencing things.
It is. It really is. And, you know, one thing that you do have as an advantage, and same with myself, is we have supportive husbands.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge difference. It really does.
I can say that. He's seen some different things, like the footprints I found in the ice and things like that. He saw those. And he's heard the knocks. And like I said, at the summer house, you know, when they're tapping on the windows and he says, is that a ghost? You're like, really? That's your response to that on the window was a ghost? Sure, it's a ghost. You know, but because he's a hunter and he has to be out in the woods, so he's very supportive. He's very protective. I'll go in the woods with you and I will help you look. And I know you've seen something, because why else would you go on about it, right? But for him to actually acknowledge that they're there, he always says, I never wanted it to ruin hunting. And I have to be in the woods a lot of times by myself, especially for moose hunting or up north or something. And I can't have that in the back of my mind to function. And I get that. I totally get that. So, yeah. But he is supportive. You're right. And I know Lou is very good with you guys, with you going to do stuff.
Yes. I'm very blessed.
Yeah.
Very. So, well, it's, I don't know, what time is it there? About five something, or
6:05. Thus the dog with a hunger problem. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, it's after 9:00 here.
Oh gosh.
And well, maybe we can just end it up here, and we'll get you on Jeff, Old Line Cryptids.
Sure. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Oh, they're great guys. They really are. And okay, here we are. Jeff says some hunters won't admit it, but yeah, he's had a lot of experiences hunting. Yeah, a lot of them won't. They won't, at least publicly. I've had quite a few contact me privately, telling me about their experiences. And
I can see that.
Yeah, it's I think guys are, they won't come out in the open because they're afraid of the ridicule. And that's honestly a shame, that they have to feel that way, because I want that to stop.
Well, they're in the right atmosphere for it. So if they're experiencing odd things and it's things they just explain away or think, oh, that was funky, I'll just put that in the funky file.
Right.
But they're seeing a lot more and they're noticing a lot more, you know, so I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, they, they get ridiculed by their friends, their family, and it's such a shame. And, so they're forced to contact, whoever privately, where they can actually share what they experienced.
Yeah.
And let me see here if I can find anything else. Yeah, I don't see any other questions. Guys, do you have any other questions or comments to Suzanne? I know there's a little bit of a delay, like a 5-second delay. So gotta wait for the answers and the slow typers.
It's all right. They've been very patient waiting for me running around, so I appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah, Melvin says, thank you, Suzanne.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. It's fun.
This really has been, so much fun, and I'm so glad that you were able to join me Even though the computer somehow didn't work out, and I'm thinking it's because StreamYard has changed things up somehow. And
well, we got it to work, and I'm sorry for the handheld motion stuff, but it's working. And this has been a lot of fun talking with you.
It really
Thank you.
has. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so glad to finally be able to speak with you after all these years.
Yeah.
Okay, Patty has a question. Do you have Bigfoot encounters where you live now?
The answer to that is no, thank God. Currently, I live in Phoenix, so no, I don't have them, and I have not gone out looking for them. However, there are reports in Sedona, which is only an hour away. I saw the one in 85 up in Prescott, or near Prescott, up on the Mogollon Rim. And I can tell you, when I'm up in the mountains, which I am, I still go up. I just stay in a cabin or something. But you never lose that driving down the road with your eyes constantly scanning.
Yes.
Or when you're walking, and it's hard not to look, you know.
It
So
really is.
they're still around. I'm just not out actively every day looking for them like I was.
Yep. You're not tromping through the woods anymore with a dog, huh?
I wish I was, but I'm not.
Yep.
I miss the woods. I love it. I like the woods. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
During the
I
day.
know I miss them.
Yeah.
I really do. I live out in the country, but unfortunately, I'm unable to get out and hike anymore. Just can't do it.
I'm sorry. Hopefully that'll change and we'll get a little bit better.
I'm hoping so, praying
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But tell you what, let's end this here.
Okay.
And if anything else happens, or if I know you have a bunch of other ton of photos in there, so if you have more stories that we haven't heard yet,
Yeah.
we'll schedule you to come on again.
That would be fun. That would be fun. I'd enjoy that. Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, you have a good evening. Thank you. And I'll contact you on offline.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mary.
Oh, you're
Bye,
welcome.
everybody. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, let's see. All right, guys. So tell you what, I'm going to end this here, and thank you so much. I appreciate all of you for coming in, and great questions, great comments. And if you have anything else, any other questions or comments, if you have any questions for Suzanne, send me a message and I'll forward them over to Suzanne. And I know that Jeff Yarrington, he's planning on getting her on his on the Old Line Cryptids. So he'll get her scheduled on there, I'm sure. But no, I appreciate y'all. And just remember, I will keep you all in my prayers. All of you who have asked me previously. And, if there's anyone else who has a prayer request, send me a message and, we'll get you on the prayer list. And just know that I do appreciate all of you. And we'll see you next week. I don't think I have anyone scheduled. I know we had, no, last week I had Dave Wargo scheduled. And I will probably bring Dave on again next week. And so you've got a lot to look forward to, because Dave is, he's local here. He's in northwestern Pennsylvania. And he is a local storyteller, and so he collects stories. And the Seneca Reservation, the Senecas, you know, they talk to him, and whenever they have a sighting, you know, they tell him and everyone else in the area. You know, at the there was a Bigfoot festival just, I think, a week or so ago in Corey, Pennsylvania, and they've got, I think, 5 or 6 reports from there that he's going to share with us. So we're looking forward to next week. So yeah, Dave is fascinating friend of mine. We share that research area up in the Allegheny National Reefs, Allegheny National Forest. So thank you. Yep, you were there, Patty. Oh, good. That's good. Dave is a great guy. Good friend. All right. So tell you what, guys, we will end this here. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week. And God bless. Monkey Wench out.